Hello Steelers, and welcome to this game of O Group. I haven't played O Group for a while, so I thought I'd do it, and I'm going to come back straight back to my favourite theatre of the Second World War, which is the Eastern Front, and right into the centre of the Battle of Kursk. We're going to be playing one of these scenarios, finally. I hear some of you say, out of the 1941-43 Barbarossa to Citadel book. This is the Battle of Ponyri. This is scenario 6. Let me just find it in here. I've always had a bit of a hankering to play the Battle of Ponyri ever since I saw it in the Rapid Fire, their supplement for the Eastern Front. So I thought, let's do it for O Group instead. He's basically written the scenario for it. The only problem is, it's only a minor problem, the only problem is I don't actually have a Brumbar model, which the Germans were using here. So what I've had to do is just replace it with a Stug 105 instead. Makes no real difference. I was going to replace it with a Sturm Tiger, but I thought no, let's go with something a little bit more realistic. So unfortunately I don't have a Brumbar model. I'm going to buy one from Svedza. I'm very surprised I don't actually have one of those things, but it is what it is. I am going to buy one from Svedza so I could at least play this scenario again at some point in future. But what I'll do, as always in these videos, is I will show you the forces that are involved. I'll show you the table that we're going to fight over, and then we will fight and we'll see if the Germans can capture the 4 objectives here in Ponyri village itself, or not, if the Soviets can hold them out and kick them back to Berlin. Well, let's find out, shall we? Okay, so here we have our German battalion. I've already put a few elements on the tabletop. That includes the forward observer and also 2 of the COs from a couple of the companies already, the company commanders. So they're already on the table, but this is the rest of it. I've not set anything else up yet. So let's just have a quick look at what we've got. We've got HQ, of course, with our 80mm mortars. We've also got a Fu and his transport. As I said, they're kicking about the table already. We've got First Company, which is over here. These guys, this is made up of the company commander, he's on the table again, and then we've also got 3 grenadier platoons as well. These are made up of 3 sections each, so 9 sections in total. That's their combat patrols. We've also got a second company as well, made up exactly the same. And this is made up of, once again, these guys here, 3 platoons, each with 3 sections, and also their 3 combat patrols. We've also got an MMG platoon as well, which I may attach to some of these guys at some point, or I might just make them separate. I'm not sure yet. There's 2 sections in there. We've also got an SDK FZ231. If my memory serves correct, I think this is a 232 actually, with a 70mm gun. This is only supposed to have a 20mm gun. I don't have a late war model of this, but that's close enough for me. It's a reconnaissance patrol platoon, so they'll be able to deploy troops at some point, I'm assuming. Then, interestingly, we have the Ferdinands. Now, these are the tanks that were introduced almost specifically for this battle. They did very poorly. They then got withdrawn, and then they were turned into the elephants of the late war. So these are the 2 Ferdinands that were kicking around at Ponyri. Interestingly, the Brumbar as well is also really only found during this battle as well, but I've had to replace that, and this is the reserves over here. So we've got the Brumbar, which is the assault gun platoon, but I've replaced it with a Stug 105, just slightly differently, a bit less firepower, but you know, I'm trying to keep it within the realms of possibility here. Then we've also got another a 3rd company, number 3 company, and you can see here there's their HQ. They've also once again got 3 platoons made up of 3 sections, and their 3 combat patrols as well with them. I already mentioned the assault gun platoon, but we've also got engineers as well over here. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is we've got this pioneer platoon as part of the on-table stuff. This is a basically these are armed with SMGs, but they also have a flamethrower as well within them as well. I don't have flamethrowers mounted on green bases, so I've had to use some of my Stalingrad collection for the engineers, but they'll do. And speaking of more engineers, there's this other smaller group of engineers here. It's literally 1 section, but these guys have got a Goliath demolition vehicle which they can use to attack the enemy with, and it's quite an impressive explosive thing when it does actually kick off. Right, let's have a look at the Soviets. Okay, so the Soviets, they are a second-rate battalion. It's the 81st Infantry Division. They have, again, their headquarters and their Fu and also their artillery missions and 82mm mortars are already on the table, so you can't see them here. as are the company commanders for 1st and 2nd companies, which once again are similar to the Germans. These are just made up of 3 platoons, each of 3 sections. They also have a support platoon in an MMG section, which is here, and they also have 2 PTRD anti-tank sections as well. These can be attached to some of the platoons if they want to, and they probably will do. They also have a sniper as well up here. They have minefields, hasty mines, 2 of which. They also have a tank platoon made up of an SU-122, which is at the back up here. Then in reserve they have anti-tank platoon, which is a 76 field gun here, and this has also got its towing array over here. And then we've also got a 57mm AT gun as well with its towing array there as well. We then have a 3rd company. This is made up of, again, the company commander. They've got their combat patrols there. This is made up of 1 workers platoon of 3 sections of workers. Again, these have been recruited in from my Stalingrad collection, but they also have 2 SMG platoons as well, so they're pretty hard hitting when they're getting close. And they have a heavy tank platoon, which is their KV-1. They've got a trench system that's capable of holding 1 infantry platoon, which I've got laid out here, that will be deployed when they deploy, and also 1 gun pit for a single gun section. So perhaps the 76mm will be put in that. But that's the forces. It's a pretty regular force for O Group. Let's just start the game and we'll go with our deployments. Okay, here's the table. So the German start line is 12 inches forward here. So basically I've got put the 2 platoon commanders forward there, as far forward as I can get. As you can see, here's a HQ set up at the back. We've got their Fu sitting in a little village over here, so he's in a bit of protection at least, but he should be able to observe Ponyri itself, which is the large collection of buildings over here. And what we have is, these are the German objectives. We've got the station, we've got the water tower, we've got the school, and we've also got the tractor depot. And the Germans, at the end of 18 turns, have to be in possession of at least 3 of these to win the game, or reduce the Soviets' fubars down, or give them fubar, should I say. The Soviets are defending up to basically their forward defence line is across here. You can see we've got 1 company over here in the in the station, and another one over here in the tractor depot as well. And then we've also got their Fu up on hill 263, which overlooks everything basically, so they're able to observe quite far into the table. We've also got another rise on this side as well, which is just a similar rise that isn't able to see over the buildings, but at least it can see around the areas itself. Soviets, as you can see, their HQ and everything is set up at the back there. We've got bits and pieces of cover from the cornfields and also the orchards as well that are scattered around, but that's pretty much it. It's quite an open table, this. These bits here, these are just decoration rather than anything else. So yeah, it's going to be quite difficult for the Germans to get up, but this is what it was like in the steppe in 1943. So let's crack on. What we'll do is I shall do my deployments and we'll see where we're at once that's happened. Okay, for those that don't know, O Group starts with deploying your battalion. You basically roll 9 dice, 10 dice if it's a big battalion, and the dice tell you what it is, what you can deploy in the first instance. So, red is for the Germans, blue is for the Soviets. So let's have a look, see what we get. We basically just pull these dice out. So starting with the Germans, they've got quite a few 6s and 5s in here, I can see. So I'm just going to pull these out, separate them into their various piles. Okay, so these are the scores. So we're going to start with the Soviets. They deploy first. So let's see, we've got 5s, any 5s and 6s, they deploy 1 ambush unit behind the forward defence line. Well, I've only got 1, so that's 1 ambush unit. I'll show you how the ambush units work in a solo game once they're on the table. And then any 2s to 4s are combat patrols behind the forward defence line. So 2s to 4s, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. They also have that bunker as well, or the dugout, so they can use a second ambush unit, which is going to be their 76mm gun, I think. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 combat patrols behind the forward defence line, so we'll set those up. So that's pretty much everybody from the 2 units. And then we've got the 1, which is, unfortunately for them, no deployment, but the opening barrage interdiction. So they are being interdicted, so if they want to deploy on the first turn, they're going to have to roll the dice to see if they can actually deploy any units. Thankfully for them, it's only 1 turn. The Germans, on the other hand, let's have a look at theirs. So we have 5s and 6s deploy 1 on-table unit behind the start line. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those if they want to deploy them, and then 2s to 4s are deploy combat patrol behind the start line, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Now the Germans, as the attackers, probably don't really want to be put their cards on the table immediately, so it's not such a great role for them. But let's get things set up and we can talk through that once it's done. So I've done the deployment. Right, for the Germans over here, Red Company have put out 2 of their combat patrols as far forward as they can in the wheat fields here. We've also put out reconnaissance units as well. This can be turned into a combat patrol if we want, or it can also reconnoitre areas that are potential ambush areas. We've also got the 2 Ferdinands. I put those out as well as part of the on-table units. May as well get them up and doing their job, hadn't we? Then over here, on German right flank, we've also put out 2 other combat patrols, once again in the wheat. These are going to be hopefully attacking into that factory and capturing that. Meanwhile, everything else is going to be pressing on onto this side of the village. So the Russians have put out their combat patrols, 1, 2 here, and also 2 more over here as well. They've also then put a 3rd one for their Red Company in the just in cover behind the back as a support, and also same for the white one as well. So they've got their 3 on there. We've also put out 2 ambush units. Now we've got the 76mm gun here, and we've also got a unit over here in their trenches. Now it does say that you have to ambush in cover, and I reckon trenches are cover. Both of these are supposed to be dug in, so happy days. The Russians have also put their minefield here as well. It's slightly bigger than the one we need, but it's just enough to show where it is. They've also got hasty mines as well, which are both going to be, one of them will be here in front of this section here. Meanwhile, the other one is going to be on this side of the factory there as well. Now the Germans don't know about those, obviously, but they can potentially get through them. But we'll just check those rules, shall we? I mentioned playing solo and ambush positions. Now both of these Russian positions here, this one here and this one over here, are in ambush. They're on the table because I'm playing solo, but they can't be fired at by the Germans until they fire, which is basically them triggering their ambush. So that's the way I'm working it. They are literally, you know, they can try to spot them with their recce unit over here if they want to, and then they can fire at them once they're spotted. But until that happens, they are literally unshootable at. The Germans can only fire at anything else. So that's basically how it is. It's a bit of a fudge on the game itself, but it kind of works for solo games at least, just to get the game flowing. Right, turn 1. I don't know if I mentioned, but the Germans have got 18 turns to capture their 3 of their 4 objectives here. So we're going to roll for the battalion dice. Same again, Germans in red, Soviets in blue there. Right, let's have a look. Oh dear. First of all, I can see the Germans immediately have got some hesitant, 1 hesitant company at least, but they've got 1, 2 HQ orders, and then they've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's their company orders. The Soviets, on the other hand, that is useless on its own, a 1. It doesn't do anything for them, but they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 company orders and 1 HQ order. Now if they roll multiple 6s, one of them gets converted into a normal HQ order, sorry, a normal company order, but as it is, they at least get 1 HQ order. So the Soviets have their 7 orders there. Now we need to see which of the German units is hesitant. So 1 to 3 it's the red company, 4 to 6 it's the white one. It is the white one, so I'll just mark those with the hesitance now, so I know. Good for them, that's not the one that's got the Ferdinands in it, so that's pretty useful. Now we need to roll for our initiative, The Germans have got +5, the Soviets have got +3 because of their HQ orders. So the Germans have got 11-12, the Soviets have got 5-8. So the Germans win, they win the initiative, they're going to take it, and let's see what they do with their orders. Right, we have our first bit of firing. Ferdinands have moved forward, then they're going to fire at this combat patrol which is in the built up area over here. It's not a great shot. They're basically hitting on 4s up with 2 dice. They started with 5, it's close range, that goes to 6. They're firing at combat patrols, that's -2, so that brings them down to 4. They're also moving as well, so that also brings them down to 2 as well. Don't think it's going to do much because the combat patrols have got a pretty good save on them anyway of a 3 up. So they're hitting on 4s up, but we may as well start doing something. So that's 1 hit. So the combat patrol saves on a 3 up. It's a save. 6, of course, it has saved. Meanwhile, the Germans have pushed the combat patrol up into the orchard over here. They've also moved their recce unit forward as well. As I said, that can be converted into a combat patrol if they want. And then they use their final order to move this unit forward. They only got 2 inches forward. Obviously, they've not got their laces tied. So basically, that's the Germans' turn. So we'll go over to the Russians, see what they get up to. Okay, first things first, Russians are going to go for an artillery barrage against these Ferdinands. It's a pretty obvious target. They can spot them from the top of the hill. They're just within range because it's an elevated range. So basically, first of all, they want to get regimental artillery if they can. So let's see if they actually get it. First of all, it's cost them 2 orders at this point. Let's see, we've got a 6. They only get battalion mortars for this, unfortunately for them, which is not great, but it is what it is, isn't it? So this is going to be 5d6. So we have to see if they are what their accuracy is now for this. So we roll. For the accuracy, that's a 10. Woohoo, that's a critical hit, so that's 1 extra hit at least. So battalion mortar starts with 5d6. They get 1 for that extra critical hit. This is pretty much a super heavy AFV, so they're going to take 2d6 off that for the strike. And it also says battalion mortars only ever use harassing fire against the medium to super heavy AFV targets, so they're only going to be using harassing fire on them. So we need to hit them first of all with 4s up, and these are saving on 3s up because they're so we've got 2 hits, and these, as I say, are saving on 3s up. So both of those have saved, so no effect on the Ferdinands from that firing. Well, we've got some more Soviet deployments over here. What we've done is deployed this unit here. I rolled for them. They did get it. They needed 5 or a 6. They 4, 5 or 6. They got it. They got a 6. Then they also deployed as well their combat patrol as well, the back as well. That also passed its roll. So that used up 2 of their orders to deploy. They deployed here because they've got an anti-tank rifle which is now going to fire at this reconnaissance vehicle over here. It's got a strike of 2 against an armour of 2, so it's a basic roll, but we need to hit it first of all, and we need a 7 up for that. -1 because they moved, because deployment is movement. So let's see, that's a 5, that becomes a 4, so that is a miss. So that ends that little charade. And then finally for the Soviets, they have deployed in ambush the 76mm gun. That is going to take a shot at one of the Ferdinands. I don't know if it's going to have much effect because it's got a strike of 7, whereas the Ferdinand's got an armour of 13, so it's going to be a difference of a -6 for that for it. But you never know, it might do something. It might give them some shock, at least something to think about. Well, we're hitting on a 7 up first of all. They don't need the spotting dice because it's nowhere. It's in the open, so basically just need a 7 up to hit it. Really, no other modifiers. That's a 5. These Soviets really need to learn their trade, I think. Okay, we're starting with turn 2. The Soviets are no longer interdicted. The Germans no longer hesitant. I've cleaned up all the units and the orders and everything that was on the table, so let's just see for our orders dice. Let's see what we get. So Soviets, this time they've got 2 6s and quite a lot of company orders here. So for them, multiple 6s, only one of them counts as a HQ order, so one of them automatically becomes a company order, but that means they get 8 company orders and 1 HQ order, taking them up to 4. So that's pretty useful, at least when it comes to potentially needing those at some point in future. So let's just give them their 8 orders. That's their 8 orders there. The Germans, on the other hand, have got 1, 2, 3 HQ orders, so that takes them over 6. So they go up to 6, so 2 of those will convert into company orders because they can't have more than 6 HQ orders, and they've got 2, 4, 6, 8 in total. So that's much better. No hesitant units this time round as well, which is always nice to see. So there's the 8 orders for the Germans. I'll just put them down with their HQ so we know who's the who's. Now we're rolling for initiative. The Germans getting +6, the Soviets getting +2. So the Germans have got 12, 14. The Soviets have got, sorry, the Soviets have got +4 or +2. So they've got 8, 12. So the Germans have still won the initiative, so they're going to take it again this time. Germans' turn. So they're going to spend 2 of their orders and they are going to try to get some artillery fire, and they're going to bring it down on this now revealed 76mm gun. Slightly overkill, but it might actually catch those 2 combat patrols in there as well, and they are going to go big or go home, and they are going to go for divisional artillery. So first of all we need to roll to see if we actually get it. It's going to cost them 2, and they need a 7 up because they're going for divisional. So let's see, they've got an 8, so that's good for them. That's his heavy battery fire mission. So it's going to use one of the Germans' 3 missions. So a heavy battery fire mission gives us 8d6 hits, but we need to see what the accuracy is first of all. So let's roll for that. That is a 9. It is zeroed in, so they're hitting on 4s up, and they're going to be saving on a 4 up. A heavy battery has a 6-inch burst radius, so that actually covers everything that's in there, so they're all going to get hit with 8d6, but that's going to be get modified because of them all being in some kind of cover or buildings at least. So first of all, -2d6 because they are in cover, but let's see if they get their hits, how many hits they take. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Oh, that's on the gun itself, so let's just make a mark of that. Then we've got a patrol phase over here as well. This is in buildings, so that takes 1d6 off. So we roll for that, see how many they take. 1, 2, 3 hits for them, so again let's just mark those up. And then finally we get the same again, 7 hits. Well, we've also got the CO in there as well, so let's do against him first of all. So these are hitting again, so 4's up, 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Let's just mark him up. And then we've got the same again against the other combat patrol in the middle here, so it's pretty good going really for the Germans, I guess. Oh well, that's broken the spell. That was a 4, so that's only 2 hits on them. Right, so now we are zeroed in, so the gun itself is saving on 4's up, so let's see what that does to it. It has saved 3 of them, but 1 shock on there, so I'll just place that on there. So they've taken 1 shock. Now we've got 3 hits on that combat patrol over here. These are saving on 4's up because they're combat patrols, and they have taken 2 shock, so that converts into hits, so that takes them off. That was good shooting at least. And then we've got 2 hits on the other combat patrol down here, same again, 4's up saves. They've taken 1 hit, they're automatically off. Combat patrols only take 1 hit, they never hold shock. And then finally we got 4 hits on the CO. He is saving on a 2 up, and he's failed 2 of them. So that he doesn't hold shock, he immediately becomes suppressed, but that also then becomes a KIA for them. So we've got to roll for a KIA roll on those on that fella. 5 or a 6, and he's off. No, he's alright at least, so he's still in position, but badly shook up by the German fire. In an effort to take advantage of those combat patrols being smashed up by the artillery, these German combat patrols have now pushed forward towards the factory, at least because there's nothing else over there at the moment. I haven't deployed from them, but I have at least got these combat patrols up and screening as they're moving forward. And then over here the Germans have used up 2 more orders, and they've pushed forward these combat patrols as well. It's about as far forward as they can get them because they can't go within 8 inches of the enemy, so they're blocking them at the moment, but they've got them forward at least. Then over here they're going to do something more with the Ferdinands. I was going to use this as a combat patrol, but it would have pushed it back further back here, so there was no point getting rid of a recce unit just for that. Okay, the Ferdinands are firing as well at the 76 just to try to give it some more umpty if they can. Both of them are firing. They started with 5d6 -2 because it is in a trench, and also it is obscured as well because it's in cover, so it needs a spotting dice. So first guy, 3 hitting on 4's up, spotting on 4s up. So not spotted, but hit with 3. So they are saving on. They're obscured, they're confident, they're saving on a 3 up. Let's have a look, they've saved. That one was cocked, they've failed 1 at least. So they've saved 2, failed 1. So that's taken them to 2 shock. Now we've got another shot from the other Ferdinand, firing the same again, obscured, etc. in a trench. All the others. This time they spotted and they've hit with 3 of them. So this time it is only saving on a 4 up rather than a 3 up. So let's see if that works. And it has failed 2 of them. So that has not only suppressed it but given it a KIA roll as well. It will be KIA'd on a 5 or a 6. So let's roll for that. It's a 4, he hasn't been KIA'd, but it is now suppressed. Okay, in their turn, the Soviets are going to try to once again target these Ferdinands with some artillery. So they are going to go, they're going to go for regimental, because there's more chance of getting it. And we basically roll our 2d6. This is for the spotter. It's cost him, it's cost him two actions, because 2 orders, because it's still artillery. So he's got a 6. Again, that is battalion mortars on those, but we just have to test for their accuracy. I don't think that's going to do a huge amount against them, but let's just see. Accuracy is a 7, so he's zeroed in at least. And it is hitting with 5d6. That comes down to 3d6 because they're super heavy tanks, or at least I'm classing them as. I'm not 100% sure if they are, but tell me in the comments. So they're hitting on 4s up. First one over here, he has taken 2 hits. I'll just mark that there so I remember. And the other one over here has taken 1 hit. So the 2 hits are saving on a 4 up. So let's see, we've got a 4 and a 2. So it's saved 1 but taken 1 shock. Now we place that there, and the other one has taken 1 shock as well. So reasonable, probably about as good as they could get for those for battalion mortars, I think. The Soviets are rallying, but they've also deployed a couple of more combat patrols, got them back out again in front of those Germans. That's cost 2 orders. They are then also going to rally their company commander. He is rallying, they're going to use all 3d6. He's rallying on a 2 up. They're going to try and make sure he can. Yeah, they needed that. 2 1s and a 5. They have rallied it off. They don't hold shock, so he automatically goes from suppressed to back to normal. Meanwhile, the 76mm is also doing it, rallying on a 4 up, and saying, oh god, it's only done 1 of them this time, so it is still not suppressed, but it is hesitant. So that's it for the Soviet left flank. Right, over on the Soviet right flank, they've tried to move the combat patrol. It basically moved 2 inches, so it didn't get very far, but now they're going to fire again with the PTRD at the SDKF set here in front of them. They've got it's a 2 action, it's basically, it needs to hit on a 7 up, so let's see if it does. They haven't moved this time, so that is a 9, that is a hit at least. And it's basically a straight roll because they have a strike of 2, whereas the armour on the SDKF set is a 2 as well. So basically it's a straight roll. It is spotted because it's in the open. So let's see, that's a 4. They've actually knocked it out. Good shot, lads. Okay, things are starting to heat up as we go into turn 3, with the Germans losing their one of their recce units. So that's a first kill to the Soviets. Let's see what they get for their orders this time round. So Germans have got 2, 3, they've got 3 HQ orders, which they will then convert straight into company orders. They've actually got 9 company orders in total because they've got their full HQ orders. The Soviets, on the other hand, have got 1, 2, 3 HQ orders. That drops down to 2 because they are a second-rate battalion, and then they have also got 1, 2, 3, 4. So they've basically got 7 company orders and 2 more HQ orders. So let's just split these up so everybody has what everybody has, and the Germans have got 9 company orders. 7, 8, 9 there. Now we need to roll for their initiative. Both are rolling the same because they're both on 6 on their HQ, so it's just a straight roll. Let's see who gets it this time. So the Germans have got a 7, the Soviets got a 5, so the Germans once again are going to keep that initiative. Right, to open up their action, the Germans are once again calling in fire against this sorry, the 76mm gun. They are using a lot of their artillery at the moment, but if they can smash this factory up and empty it out, it means that they can at least hopefully gain a foothold in the Soviet left flank. That's what they're going to go try to do. So they're going to once again go for a divisional artillery. So we have to roll first of all to see what they get. That's a 10 on divisional artillery. For the Germans and the Russians, that is rockets. So they've got a load of Nebelwerfers firing somewhere offline, and their rockets hit with 9d6 and give a 6-inch burst. So that is actually, I think it takes every single thing in there. So we're aiming at their gun, so it certainly takes them in there, and it just clips that patrol marker, combat patrol on the edge of the factory as well. So they're all going to get hit with 9d6. Well, actually the ones in the factory are going to get hit with 8d6. But let's start first up with our gun itself getting hit with, this one's getting hit with 7d6. So hitting on 4s up, blimey, that is a lot of hits. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. Just mark them down because we'll come back through these in a second. And that's 6 hits on the gun. Right, so the ones in the building, they only -1 off their hits. So we'll go on the company commander. He has taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits on him. So once again, just mark him up. And the combat patrol that's in the building as well, this is also -1 on it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits on that. It is going to be eating up the Soviet orders because they're going to have to redeploy these all the time. Now we've got the 2 that are in the open. So these are being hit with 9d6. So the first one here on this edge has been hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Wow, this is doing some good work. And then finally, it'd be better if it was actual units rather than combat patrols, but it is what it is. And then finally, the last one over there has been hit with 2, so only 2 on them. There we go. Okay, right, so we're going to start with our gun first of all. It is saving on a 4 up. Let's just see, it has saved 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, but taken 2 hits, so that's a suppression and then a KIA roll. So let's test on that KIA roll. There's only 1 hit, so it's 5 or a 6 and it's gone. It has been destroyed. I'm going to take the towing off as well with it. So that's the first Soviet casualty. So let's just get rid of all that there. Also, its gun position has gone as well, would say that. Right, now we've got 2 hits on the guys in the open. They're saving on 3s up because they're combat patrols. They always save on 3 up. They've failed both of them, so they are also off. And as I say, this is now going to start eating up Soviet orders to get these back into the game. Then we've got 5 hits on the commander. He's saving on 2s up. Commander. He has taken 1 hit, so he has become suppressed. They don't hold shock, they just become suppressed, which is not good for him. And then we've got 6 hits on each of these combat patrols. So the first one in the building, 3s up, and it has saved all of them. Wow, good for it. And then 6 hits on the one in the open, same again, saving on 3s up. We've saved all of them. So thankfully for the Soviets, they haven't lost those 2 combat patrols, but they have lost that gun, and they're not. And also, these have to retreat 2d6 because they're in the open. Otherwise, they will take another shock, which will remove them. So they're going to have to fall back 5 inches. So they will fall back to behind the factory. So at least they push them out of their way, and the Germans can now start to move a little bit round this corner, I think. Okay, so the Germans are making their main thrust and their effort over here on their right flank. So what they've done is they moved their combat patrol forward. They then deployed onto it, costing them 2 orders. They are then going to fire at the combat patrol in the factory. If that's the case, what they will do, they've already deployed a combat patrol here. They can't get any further forward because there's enemy units in there. They will then fire with these, probably at the company officer. We'll see what happens with this combat patrol. They might move forward and then deploy in the factory, depending on how much, if we can get rid of what's actually happening in here or not. So first up, we're going to fire with Well, fire these are the combat patrol, and these are the company commander. They're within range. So the first ones, they are firing with 6d6. So the first ones, we're going to start with these. They have moved because they've deployed. They're firing against combat patrols. It doesn't count because they're in buildings, it's just a combat patrol, so it's a 2 basically to hit. They're hitting on 4s up. We don't need the spotting dice because their combat patrols are automatically obscured anyway, so they're hitting on 4s up. So they've hit with a 4 and a 5, so that is 2 hits. Combat patrol is saving on a 3 up though. It's failed both of them, so that has removed that combat patrol, which is perfect. Now they just need to get rid of the the company commander. Now they're doing the same thing from the other units, so these ones, they're starting with 6, firing into buildings. They have also moved as well because they deployed, so they're firing. So hitting on 4s up. So yes, that's a 5 and a 4, that's 2 hits. So these are saving on 2 up. It could be a KIA if he fails it, or if both fail, then it is a double KIA. But let's just see it anyway. Yes, he's saved both of those, but he's still suppressed it anyway. Right. So what we're going to do now is, I can't move that combat patrol any further forward because I think he's about 8 inches away from the company commander. I can move it a little bit further forward. We've got 3 orders to play with. So what I'm thinking is, there are hasty mines around here, I remembered, but they're just on this side of the factory and not here. So what I can do is I could send this unit into close combat into the factory with a company commander's order. So we're going to do that. So basically what they want to do is they want to move and fire. So we're going to give them an order straight away, and then they have to roll again to see how many extra orders it costs for them to use it as a company commander order. They're a first-rate battalion. We've got a 3. It's plus extra 2 orders. Now they have an extra 2 orders in here. They've still got some HQ orders they can spend if they want. It's basically cost them 3 orders to do what they want to do. What they want to do, as I said, is now close into close combat. But before they do that, they are going to fire at the company commander again. So 4 up, and let's see, that was cocked. We've got a 6 and a 6, double 6 is 2 hits. They're saving on 2 up, 6 and a 5, so they've saved those. But then now we're going to move into close combat. So they get to either evade, well, they're suppressed, so they can't actually evade. So they're going to move 2d6 and try to get into that factory if they can. 10 inches, they've done it. So they pile up into the factory and then go into close combat with a suppressed company commander, which I don't think is going to turn out very well for them, to be perfectly honest. So basically we've got 5 for the Germans against 1 for the Soviets, and they're hitting on 4s up. So the Germans have scored 3 hits, whereas the Soviets have only scored 0 hits. And that means then that is 3 excessive hits, which means that's enough to take off the company commander, which is going to be a crisis of command for the Soviets, which we'll sort in a second. And the Germans have taken the factory. So there you go, that's it. Soften them up with artillery, then going for the assault. Okay, so it's a command crisis roll now for the Soviets. Because I'm playing solo, I roll the dice for it. So basically the Soviets, they roll the dice. Whatever the number is, the Germans, they roll their dice. If it matches the dice first time rolled, then the Soviets will lose 2 of their HQ orders. If the Germans match it on the second roll, the Soviets will lose 1 HQ order. So let's see what they get for their roll. So 2. So the Germans' first roll is a 1. No. Now to see if they lose 1 HQ order, let's roll it in there. It is a 5. No. So fortunately for the Soviets, they don't lose any HQ orders. And then finally for the Germans, on their turn, what they've done is they've actually used an order and a HQ order to move forward that combat patrol around the minefield and then deploy at the back of the factory here as well. So that's pretty much where the Germans are ending their turn. They can't do, well, they can do some other bits and pieces, but let's see what the Soviets do to face them. So the Soviets are once again going to try to put some fire down on these Ferdinands and at least try and destroy them if they can with their artillery. Right, so they're going to go again for some artillery support. They're just going to go for regimental this time because there's more chance of bringing it in. Let's see. Double 1. No, nothing. That's not map section 3, that's map section 4, so there's no support received. So that basically uses up their 2 orders for their foo, but let's see what else they can do. This is not going great so far, is it? So what the Soviets have done is they have deployed one of their platoons over here, and they are now going to fire at the Germans over here, who will probably return fire using some HQ orders, but we're going to start with that. They can't deploy their company commander again until next turn, so he's out for a minute, but they have moved, so they're firing with 4d6. They are in the open, so they don't need a spotting dice, so let's just see what they hit them on 4s up. They have hit with 2. The Germans are saving on 4s up because they're in the open and they've been spotted. So let's see, we've got a 3 is a 1 shock, and that's 2 shocks, so that has made them hesitant. So we're going to spend a HQ order to fire with the Germans firing back. These are Panzer Grenadiers, so they do get to re-roll 1 miss if the target is in the open, which they are. So let's see, 3 hits and then 2 misses, so one of those can be re-rolled. It's Panzer Grenadiers, and that's a 1, so that's 3 hits on those Soviets. What do they get for their saves? They're saving on 4s up, so they've also failed too, so they are hesitant as well. Then the Soviets are moving their action to their right flank. So first of all, these guys over here, these have popped up from their combat patrol. They're going to fire at this combat patrol. These ones are going to fire at this combat patrol, and these guys are coming out of ambush, so they haven't moved, and they're going to fire at the combat patrol. I don't know if you can see it, it's in the trees over here on the Germans' left flank. So let's start first of all with the ones that have moved, firing at combat patrols. They're only using 2 dice, but they are they're always obscured combat patrols. But let's see what we get. Have we hit? No, miss. So then the next one, firing at the combat patrol again, is just going to be firing again with 4 dice. So have they hit? They've scored 4 hits on them. Combat patrol saves on a 3 up though, and yeah, he saved all 4 of them. Wow, good defense there. And then finally we got the other ones firing once again 4d6 because they're firing at combat patrol. So they have hit with 3 of them. And how many of the combat patrol saved? It has saved, well, no, it has passed all of them because it's combat patrol, saves on 3s up. So desultory firing from the Soviets there, unfortunately for them. So next turn, let's see what we get for our orders. Right, so Germans have got 2 1s, they've got a 6, gives them another HQ point back up to 5. They spent a couple last time, and then they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 company orders. Soviets, fortunately for them, they have 1 hesitant company. They get a couple of HQ orders, but they already have 6, so that transforms those into 6 company orders. Soviets get 6 company orders. The Germans, on the other hand, get 6 as well. So 6 for 6, and we've got to see which of the Soviets companies is hesitant. Right, so 1 to 3 it is the white company, 4 to 6 it's the red company. 1 to 3 it's the white company. There's one they didn't want because that's the one that has just been hammered in that factory. But let's have a look then at our initiative. So Soviets get a +6, the Germans get +5. Okay, so the Germans have got 12-17 against the Soviets 5-11. So of course the Germans are going to take the initiative. Okay, the Germans have reduced shock over here, and then they're going to fire as well, and they're firing again at those Soviets over there. They've also moved the other units as well into the skull, so that is now 2 of the objectives are in German hands at least. So let's do the firing from the Panzer Grenadiers. I might go into close assault, we never know, but let's just see what happens first of all. So Panzer Grenadiers get that re-roll, so let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, 1 miss. Is it a re-roll? Well, is it another? Yes, it is another hit. That is 5 hits. So these are now saving on a 4 up because they're in the open, so they're spotted, and they have failed 3 of them. Suppressed, and then takes off a unit as well, or a section should I say. So they are now suppressed. They can't, unfortunately for them, they can't return fire. Now the Germans could potentially go in for close assault here. So this will be a company commander order because they've already done something with them. So yeah, let's do it, let's go for it. So we need to find out how many extra orders it will cost the Germans here. So we'll roll for those. 6, doesn't cost them any more, so basically it just costs them 1 order to do it. They will then fire once again before they attack. This time though they're firing with 3 dice rather than 5 because they're just about to move. So we roll those and we've got 2 hits. Panzer Grenadiers can re-roll, and that is 3 hits on those Soviets again. They're automatically saving on 3s up because they're suppressed, because they are obscured now, and that has saved all 3 of them, so they're okay. So now the Germans need to charge into close combat. Soviets, because they're suppressed, they are only allowed to do a certain amount of things so they can't actually do anything, the Soviets, so we've got to just see if the Germans can get into close combat with them. They're 9 inches away, so basically they need an 8 or above to hit them in close combat. So let's see. That's 10. That's more than enough. Yep, it is. So they then go into close combat with those Soviets. I'll just move them up, taking their suppressors and their orders with them. Right, so we now fight with the Germans are fighting with 2d6 per section, so they get 2, 4, 6 to start with. Soviets are fighting with 2 per section, so they start with 4. Soviets, however, are suppressed, so they actually go down to 2. The Germans have got shock, so they take that off, and this is it. So basically it is 5 against 2, and they're all hitting on 4s up. And if any excess hits are going to be KIAs for the Soviets anyway, so let's just see. There's no save rolls on these, so let's see what we've got. The Germans have caused 3 hits, so that's 1.5 KIAs. The Soviets have caused 1 hit, so that suppresses, well no, it turns the Germans hesitant. The Soviets will take an automatic KIA plus another KIA, and let's see, 5 or a 6, and it takes them off. 2, no it hasn't, they're still there, but they have lost the close combat. They've lost it, so the Soviets will immediately retreat. They will retreat 3d6 back. Let's see how far they go. That is 9, 10, 11 inches. I don't know if that'll take them off the table or not. Let's just double check that. No it doesn't, but they are in the cornfields and suppressed. The Germans, they then now get a rally roll, because they survived that, so they need a 4 up to rally that off. Yes, they are back down to 1 shock. Let me just get these changed about. Well, that was pretty good going for the Germans to go in for that close assault, I think. So that is actually the first food bar for the Soviets, because they have had 2 infantry units destroyed. They've had their commander destroyed. He will come back on this turn, but from last turn he was destroyed, and they also had the Ziz gun as well destroyed. So that is 4 units. That is a food bar on the Soviets. So we go straight into a command crisis, and we do the same again as before. So we roll for the Soviets, see what they get. They've chosen a 4. The Germans, their first roll is a 3, doesn't take it off them, and then for taking off 1 HQ point, roll again. 5, no it doesn't. So they've survived the command crisis, but they still got smashed up on their left flank. It might not be very noticeable, but there is actually another Soviet combat patrol over here, and I forgot, I was going to fire with these Germans at it. They are only firing 2 dice, but they've got an attached MMG. It can't actually fire, it can't get any re-rolls, but they are Panzer Grenadiers, so they do get re-rolls anyway. So let's just see, they're hitting on 4s up. They've only got 2 dice, it may or may not do anything. 2 4s, 2 hits, and they are saving, because it's a combat patrol, saving on a 3 up. Let's have a look. That says saved both of them, so no effect. I just forgot to do that earlier. The Germans are now going to put their emphasis onto their left flank over here, so they're going to do some firing from... They've basically reduced shock on the Ferdinands. They're going to then fire into this building. Then the other 2 platoons over here are going to fire at the ones in the station. They're going to try to clear the station if they can, and then hopefully do a pincer movement through the village on the right hand side with their consolidation probably next turn. I was going to do it this turn, but I don't think it is. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for the Germans, I think. Right, so we're going to start with the Ferdinands firing into buildings. They've got a HE of 4. They haven't moved. They are just firing with 4 dice. Need a spotting dice as well, so let's just see what we get for that. So first one is hitting on 4s up. They haven't spotted, but they've caused 4 hits on those Soviets there, so they are saving on 3s up because they're obscured. They have saved all of them, and then our second Ferdinand is doing exactly the same, firing into buildings with a spotting dice. And we've got, they have spotted, but he hasn't hit a single one, so swings and roundabouts. Right, we've got the next German units over here. So these are moved, firing into buildings. The first one's over here. These are Panzer Grenadiers, remember, so they do get to re-roll one of their misses, but only if the target is spotted. So, but they've also got an attached MMG down here as well, so we'll try with these first of all. Right, they are spotted, they've hit one. They can't re-roll with the MMG, I've just remembered, because they have moved, because they deployed, but they can re-roll one because they're Panzer Grenadiers. So that is a 1, that's a miss. So these are spotted, they are saving on a 4-up. And that's a 2, so now that has given them 1 shock. They are then going to react and return fire at the Germans. That's going to cost them an order. We'll just stick their order down first of all. They will return fire. They haven't moved, but they are now, unfortunately for them, they have got 1 shock. So that means they're firing with 5 dice. Firing back at the same target, hitting on 4s up because the Germans are in the open. Yes, they're in the open. They don't need a spotting dice, that's what I meant. Is 4 hits on those Germans. The Germans are saving on 4s up because they're in the open. So let's see, saved all of them. And then finally our last German section, platoon over here are going to fire again at those Soviets. Firing with 5 dice once again. Actually no, sorry, 3 dice once again because they have moved and they are firing into buildings. So, and also, sorry, spotting dice as well. So 2 hits, spotted, and a re-roll, because Panzer Grenadiers, 3 hits. So 3 hits on those guys, saving on 4s up because they've been spotted. 2 fails, so that takes them immediately to suppressed. Do we charge into the attack once again? Do you know what? I think we do. Why ever not? How far away are these Germans? Let's have a look, they're 9 inches away. Let's go for it. It is a company commander order. We're going to spend an order from their HQ, so that takes that down to 4. They then roll to see how many extra orders it will cost them. So let's see that. We'll roll a d6 and they get a 6, so it doesn't cost them any extra orders. So I've already paid for it. So they will fire before they attack. And they are firing once again. They're about to move, so they're going to get, it's going to be 3 with a spotting dice. They're suppressed, they're already obscured, so they don't need the spotting dice. Firing into buildings though. 2 hits with a re-roll as a Panzer Grenadier. That's a miss. So that's 2 hits on the Soviets. They are saving on a 3-up because they're suppressed. And saved 1, failed 1. So that's a KIA roll for them. 5 or a 6. And yes, it's killed 1. Is it their anti-tank gun? 1, and it is. No, it isn't. Sorry, anti-tank rifle. So that has killed 1 man there, so that takes them off. Then the Germans will now going to run into that building and try to get to it. Now let's just see how far away we are. We are 9 inches, so they need 8 up to get in there. That is 10. They've made it. Double check there. Yes, 10 inches is enough to get them up to the building. Right, we're back. The Germans have got 5 dice against the Soviets, 3 dice. All hits count. No saves. So, Germans have hit 3, Soviets have hit 1. So that causes the Germans 1 shock. I'll just stick that shock on there to remind me. Now, the Soviets have taken 4 hits, so that's actually 2 full KIAs. So let's see if either of those are on the rifle, the anti-tank rifle. No, it isn't, so it's on the section themselves. So the anti-tank section will run away, and that will run away 3d6 plus 6 inch. I think that might be another FUBAR for the Soviets. Let's just check. And they run away 4 inches. So they're pushed out of the building just behind there. This is basically 2 BUAs because we'll put the Germans in there. They will now get to rally. They do a single rally roll, 4 up. Yes, 4 up, so they can take that off. And they've captured another of the, they're now on 3 of the objectives. Soviets are asking once again for an artillery strike on these Fernandos. Can they do it? This time, let's just see. Right, they are going to go for their regimental artillery. So this is going to cost them 2 orders once again. Still haven't brought anything down, have they, at this point? So that is 9. That's a medium battery fire. So 7d6 hits against the tanks. We said they're super heavy, didn't we? So that's 5 off. That is also got a burst of 5 inches. So actually it will also hit this section here in the open, who will have to retreat or take shock. But let's just see on the Fernandos. First one. Well, we need to see what the accuracy is first of all, don't we? So we roll for that, and the accuracy is 9, so that is on target. So hitting against the first Fernando. I know it's called a Ferdinand, don't worry. So we've got 3 hits on it. So I'll just make a mark of these so I know what's happening. Same again. 5 dice on this one, 4's up. 1 hit on this one, and then we've got 7 hits against this platoon in the open. So let's see what they get. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. So I just mark them with a 4 as well, and they're in the open. So they're going to have to retreat or they will take a shock as well. Right, so let's start with our Ferdinand here. He's saving basically on a 4 up. So he's failed, so the first one has taken 1 shock. The second one has taken 3 hits, so saving on a 4 up. He again has taken 1 shock. This seems to be all the Soviets can do, really. This is used on one of the Soviet batteries as well, so just take those out. And then we've got the 4 hits on those Germans in the open. As I say, these are going to have to retreat or take more shock as well. So let's just see what happens. They're saving on 4's up though, and they've actually taken 4 hits. So that means there was 1 KIA in there. They are now suppressed and a KIA, so we'll roll for that. 3 is not a KIA, but they are going to have to retreat. So they will fall back 2d6, 3d6 actually, because they're retreating. So that is, God, 10, 16 inches. I think they've actually buggered off the table, to be honest. No, they're just on the back edge, but they are suppressed, so I'll just put them back here. Okay, the Soviets had some pretty good luck with that fire at least, but what I've done is I've given an order out here. I've just spread these orders out. First one was these guys over here. These are basically changed facing, and they're going to fire into the factory. These ones are going to fire into the factory as well, try to sort out the Germans that have just attacked into the factory. Sorry, the station. Then I just about to do it off camera. The suppressed ones, they did a rally order, but they failed it. So I've got to see how far away they run. They're about 15 inches from the edge of the board. If they roll over 15, they're going to be off, and it's going to be another foobar for the Soviets because they were on to 7 kills at this point. So let's just see how far they do get. 15 inches. So that takes them off the table because they failed that roll. So that also then gives those Soviets another foobar. So we have to do a command crisis roll first of all. They are now losing their command dice at a rate of knots. So let's just quickly do the command crisis roll. So see, Soviets got a 2, the Germans on their first roll have got a 5. The Germans on the second roll have got a 1, so they haven't lost any HQ points at least. Right, now we shall go on to the actual firing. So for the first Soviets here, they started with 6 dice, but they have moved and they're firing into buildings, so that's -3. So we're hitting on 4's up. Germans possibly obscured as well because they're in cover. They've spotted them and they've hit with 3. The Germans then are saving on 4's up. Let's see what we get. They've failed 2, they've taken 1, so they are hesitant. So we then will get some fire coming in from over here in the trenches up there, and they start with 6, firing into buildings, becomes 5 with a spotting dice as well. They spotted them and they've hit 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. So 4 saves gives they're saving on 4's up. Saved 4 of them, but they're taking another hit, so that suppressed those Germans. Right, is this time now for the Soviets to charge in and do a company commander order and get their men in to try and clear that station once again? I think it is, you know. I think it's time to do it. So we're going to order these guys here. It's going to be a company commander order used up from this fella here. He's going to order these to charge in here because they're going to make it. They then need to roll to see how many extra orders it's going to cost them. These are going to have to come out of their HQ orders because that's with their last company order. So let's just see what they get. Roll a d6, second rate battalion on a 3, costs them 2 extra orders, so that takes them down to 4 on their HQ orders. They will then fire before they go in, so once again the Germans are suppressed, they're automatically non-spotted anyway, so they're hitting on 4s up and they've hit with 1. They can't re-roll because they've got an MMG, but they can't re-roll with it because they're moving with it. The Germans are saving on a 3 up because they're suppressed, but they've not taken it, so that's a KIA roll first of all for the Germans. And 5, no, it hasn't done anything, so they're still sticking into it. Now the Soviets need to run in, and they are literally anything over anything. They'll 2d6, they're going to make it. 4, they've made it. So we'll pile these in here. We can get through all these orders. Might as well try and take the station back at least. It looks like the German left flank is a little bit up in the air at the moment, so they might be consolidating next turn at least somewhere on their right flank, but let's see anyway. So Soviets now have pushed into that area. So the Soviets are starting with 2 dice per base, so they're starting with 8. The Germans in there are starting with 3 because they're suppressed. Soviets are attacking into buildings. Soviets take 1 dice off, so this is it. 4s up, our hits. See what we got. Soviets have got 1, 2, 3 hits. The Germans have only caused 1, so that's caused 1 shock on the Soviets. I'll stick that on there while I remember. And the Germans have taken 3 hits, so that is 1 full KIA plus a KIA roll as well. Let's see what it is. 5, yes, they have taken 2 kills. That's not enough to give them a foo bar yet though, but they will retreat 3d6 immediately, and the Soviets will then retake that station. Worthwhile doing. So that is 11, 12, 13 inches back. So yes, they've fallen way back here off camera. They are badly smashed up. Soviets will then move back into the station, retaking it. So that was worth doing. It was quite costly in orders, and they also get a rally roll as well, so we'll roll for that. 4 up, yes, they've rallied off, so we can take that off as well. Now unfortunately I had a technical hitch, which meant that the last German turn didn't actually record all the way from the rolling for the initiative and things. The Germans won the initiative, they got quite a few command orders. Soviets didn't get so many, they only ended up with 4. They didn't get a hesitant unit at least. Right, I'll just quickly show you what happened because it was literally through the German turn. This unit over here fired at and destroyed that final Soviet section in the cornfields. They then fired at and destroyed the patrol marker over here, compound patrol over here, and then consolidated on the schoolhouse and put out 2 new combat patrols over there. Meanwhile, they also, before all of that, they fired divisional artillery. They got heavy battery, which absolutely smashed up the Soviets in the station, drove back one of the combat patrols as well, and also just give them a bit of umpty and something to think about. The one other thing that they did was then just rally this unit right at the very back here. They only managed to reduce their shock by 1, but at least they reduced that. So we then will go straight over onto the Soviets and their turn and see what they do with their 4 orders. So the Soviets are once again, first order is going to try to smash up these Ferdinands, and they're going to go for, in this case, regimental artillery. Let's see if it works this time. They got 10, yay! But that is a medium battery fire mission. He's only going to hit those, unfortunately for the Soviets. Medium battery is still pretty good. What is their accuracy? Let's have a look. It's 3. Ooh, that's not good. It is harassing fire, so it's still not brilliant, but at least they're going to hit something. This time it's come in. So it's 7d6 minus 2, so it's actually going to be 5d6 against each of these. So the first one, let's see, they've hit with 2 on that one, and then the second one we've hit with, let's see, 3 this time on the other one. So they're saving, it's harassing fire, so they're actually saving on 3s up. So the first one has failed both of them, so that has actually caused 2 shock on that third. Now that's the most it's ever had, and then 3 hits on the other, saving on 3s up, saved all of them. So 2 shock, but it's all gone onto 1 Ferdinand. And then meanwhile they have released their reserves, or at least some of them anyway. They brought on 2 KV1s and also the IS 122, and then they are going to use their final order to try to rally this unit here in the station. So they need 4s up for this, and they failed 2, but they've at least rallied 1 off, so it is now hesitant rather than suppressed. That ends the Soviets' turn. A very quick one though. Right, let's see what we get for our command rolls. First of all, the Soviets are still down by 2 2 dice here. So the Germans have got themselves 1, 2, 3, 4 HQ orders, of which they only need 2. So 2 of those will convert into company orders, and then they've got 1, 1, which is no use, and then they've got 6 company orders. So that's their 6 company orders. Meanwhile, the Soviets have got 2 HQ orders, one of which they ignore because it is a second-rate battalion, but then they also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 company orders, so same for each really. And then both of them are on 6 for their HQ, so this is for their initiative. Let's see who gets it this time. Again, the Germans have pipped it. They've got an 8 to a 6, so the Germans get to go first. Right, just quickly show you what's happened here. The Germans have deployed a unit on their combat patrol over there to capture the top end of the village. They've also moved another one to the water tower and then deployed there, captured that part of the village as well. So they now hold 3 of the 4 objectives. They are then going to fire with these guys across the ones in the factory, and then we'll see what happens there, but they may do a close assault on them, you never know. So let's get that done first of all. They are only firing with 3 dice because they're firing into buildings and have moved. So let's see, they're hitting on 4s up. That's 3 hits though, and 3 hits on those Soviets. Sorry, I didn't check if they're obscured or not. They weren't spotted, so they're saving on 3s up. Okay, that's a hit, suppresses them, and also a KIA roll. So 5 or a 6, it takes off another unit. Let's roll it in there. 5, yes, it takes 1 off. Is it the MMG? Let's see, no, it isn't. Now, that means they are now on 11 kills. So 1 more kill and it is game over for the Soviets. So what do we do here? This is the question. Right, I think the Germans are going to try to close assault that Soviet position. So what we're going to try to do, use another company commander order to get these guys to try to attack the suppressed units. If they can wipe them out, it's pretty much game over for the Germans, for the Soviets should I say. So first of all, we are going to spend 1 order on them doing what they're going to do, and then we roll again to see what their company commander order is. It is 5, so that uses up another order, so we'll give them that. They're going to fire before they go in, then they're going to obviously close assault. Let me just mark the company commander having used his commander order just in case, and then they're going to obviously close assault. So let's fire before we go in. First of all, 3 dice because they're going to move, firing into buildings as well, so they're automatically out of sight because they're suppressed anyway. Let's see, that is 2 hits on them. They are saving on 3s up, and they've saved 1, failed 1, so that's a KIA roll. Let's see, no, it isn't KIA them, so they're okay. Now the Germans are going to attack. Let's see how far they get, and that is 7 inches. That should be more than enough. Yes, it is. Gets them into the attack. So will the station change hands once again? Let's find out. Right, we've got 6 Germans, 6 dice for the Germans, attacking into buildings though, so we take 1 off. Soviets have got 2 and they are suppressed, so they're down to 2 dice, and that's pretty much it. So hitting on 4s up. Let's see what happens. The Germans have hit 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Soviets have hit nothing, so that's 4. That is actually 2 KIA rolls. So that has wiped out those Soviets, and that now takes their kills and their casualties to over 12, meaning the Germans have literally just won the game on that 1 roll. Well, that's it, folks. There we go. The station has changed hands, I think, for the third time in this game. Finally winning the Germans at the game, and also battering those poor Soviet defenders and smashing up several of their companies at the same time. There was only one of these guys here in the trenches still sticking around afterwards. But that was a hard-fought game, wasn't it? I think the problems really started for the Soviets over here when they lost this section of the area, this flank of theirs, which really crumbled quite quickly. They should have probably should have really put in some more supports in there a lot quicker, but just trying to be a bit clever. They did actually put out their supports here, their reserves, the KV-1s and the IS-22s, but just not enough time to actually make any difference on the game. There's no infantry pretty much in this village now, so I don't think the armour would go anywhere near it, because it's swarming with German infantry, probably holding all kinds of anti-tank rifles and things in there. The two Ferdinands, this is as far as they got. They kind of were used as standoff artillery, really, weren't they? The Germans only really lost this recce vehicle and a couple of sections elsewhere fighting. So yeah, pretty good, absolute complete win for the Germans on this one. They really battered the Soviets. Well, fantastic game of O Group as always. I love this game, and I've not played it for a while. There was a lot of rules that I'd forgotten, so I've probably forgotten lots of stuff in the game, but it's all about the narrative, isn't it? I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, let me know in the comments down below. Give me a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done, and of course, as always, I'll see you in the next Storm of Steel video.